Hey, hello, Modern Classic Firearms members. Just got back from the gun shop. I posted earlier asking if you guys wanted me to do a video on my new gun that I added to my collection. Got some thumbs up on it, so here I am. Now may I present this, an Armalite AR-180. For some of you old school guys out there, I'm pretty sure you already know what this is. And for some of you, well, even old guys might not know what this is, but for some of you youngsters, this was Armalite's answer to basically the Soviet AKM at the time. It was basically a cheaper alternative to the M16 at the time, and we're talking Vietnam era. And basically, I'll get a close-up. It's got the old school 1 in 12 twist rate barrel with a 3-prong flash hider on it. Got that old school shiny black fiberglass type furniture. It's got the little dust cover like an AR-15. When you cock it, it'll open. And I did chamber check and everything, so it's clear. It's got a side folding stock here. It's got an ambidextrous safety on both sides. You see that? There's the other safety lever. It's got this upswept charging handle here. But unlike an AR-15, it does not have a bolt release on the other side. But it does lock open on the last round. See if I can do this one-handed here without fumbling too much. See, she locks open. This mag's hard to get out. Just let me set this down for a second. Okay, mag's out. You can see the bolt's still open. Okay, why did I buy this? Well, for some of you that may not know, this rifle earned a reputation of being the most successful failure of the 20th century when it comes to military prototype and design. This gun was going up against the AR-15, and it failed twice on the military trials. Why did it do that? Well, first off, this gun is like 90% of this gun is made out of stampings. So the receiver here, the upper, even the hammer on the inside is made out of stamped steel, sheet metal. The only forged components in this gun that I'm aware of is the bolt and the gas piston assembly and the carrier. Other than that, even the front sight block, I believe that's a casting, if I'm not mistaken. But this thing has an incredible legacy behind it. And how can that be if this was such a failure? Well, let me see if I can get this gun open without fumbling too much. What you do is you push up here. I don't have a tripod or anything, so this is kind of really difficult to do. Pull that out, and you see you got a dual recoil spring and guide rod set up there. Set that aside. And then we can pull our bolt back. And you see how that lines up right there? Allows you to pull your charging handle out. And I'll get my finger in there, and the bolt comes out. Now what makes this design legendary is this style of design right here. It's got the dual guide rod setup going through the boat, so it's almost like a telescoping boat. And you look at that, that's very familiar, that star pattern bolt head. Very similar to an AR-15, but not exact, but very similar. And if any of you guys are familiar with the British SA-80, this will look almost identical to it because it was copied after the AR-18 at the time. Neat stuff. But the real thing that makes this gun so legendary in terms of design is the fact that this gas system inspired future designs, like in the SCAR-17, the HK-416, the SA-80, the H&K G36, all use this similar type of gas system. It's a 3-piece gas system. And I'm gonna try to get this apart to show you. Here, I'm gonna set the camera down. Okay, I got it discombobulated now. Alright, so this will go over here, and this is our gas piston here, and it'll slide over this, and this is like a connecting piece. Why is that necessary? Well, with earlier designs that are similar to this, like the SVT-40, it was a two-piece rod design. And the problem with that is there would be really tight tolerances on a gun like that, but the gas piston didn't allow for any slop. So this little connecting link here acts almost as like kind of like what a ball joint will work. It would allow for play and slop, and this greatly increases durability and reliability through your gas system. And then this will come off there, and then there's your gas system. It goes together like this. You just put that in there, and there's your gas system. Three-piece design, simple but effective, and it is copied by so many more successful and future, current type pattern military rifles, and that's what gives this gun an incredible legacy. Yes, it was a failure, but inspired so many designs after it. So from that aspect, that's why I bought it, because this is like the OG Big Daddy of this type of operating system. And for any of those of you that don't know, if you ever seen the first Terminator movie, when Arnold walks into the police station to try to kill Sarah Connor, he had a Franke Spaz 12 in one hand and one of these in the other hand. But the only difference is this is semi-auto. He had an AR-18, which is full auto. So he got a little bit of screen time in Hollywood too. So that kind of makes it an icon in that sense. But this is it. This is my baby. I'm probably not going to shoot it much. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, this has a side folding stock. So you press down on that and the stock will fold closed. That'll pop back into place. I'm not going to try to flip it around and fix it in the lock position with everything apart like this. But this is it. This is my new gun. I'm not going to shoot a whole lot because it's a pre-ban, and yeah, actually this gun does have some weak points because in reality, this gun never left the prototype phase. One of the weak points right here, it's hard to get the camera to focus. See if I could get that to focus. Alright, right there. You see this area? This is all just like spot welded on, and then they got some welds here. If you were to let this swing forward and slam down, you can easily crack this, I guess would be a connecting bracket for the hinge for your takedown pin. So if you ever buy one of these, never let your upper slam down forward, because you can stress crack that. And in the rear, you see these welds? Those can easily break on the hinge, and same thing on the stock as well. It's very easy, here let me try to get in there, it's very easy to break these sections and crack them. And that's basically what gives stability in the stock. If you break one of those, your stock is going to wobble in the wind. So this gun's kind of fragile. You got to take care of it. But let me say, if this gun got a tenth of the attention the AR-15 did for military trials, this would have been an excellent gun. Excellent. Because the new operating system, it's not direct impingement. So that means it's going to run cleaner in the chamber aspect of the gun. There's no hot gases blowing back into the action. It's all contained in the gas system. So you got a cleaner running rifle. You got a nice gas piston setup, which means it's gonna cycle more reliably. And it's cheaper, and this gun weighs 6 pounds unloaded. This thing is stupid light. It's got an 18.25 inch barrel. It's got really low sight radius. And if you look at the front, that sight post, it's rounded. It's hard, I can't get the camera to focus, but that front sight post is rounded and it gives a really clear view of your sight picture. I don't know why Armalite or Colt went from a rounded front sight post to a square one, because the rounded ones are definitely nicer. You look on that pistol grip, it says AR-18 Armalite right there. Cool stuff. And honestly, I'm just a sucker for old retro vintage era military pattern rifles, and this was definitely on my list, and I just had to have it. And one last bit of information before I'm rambling. Three manufacturers produced these. The first, I think 200 were made by Armalite in Costa Mesa, California. And then I think in 1974, Howa started producing them. They produced, I think, around 2000, if I'm not mistaken. And at that time, Japan, I guess they passed a law or a treaty that said they were not allowed to sell weapons to other countries that were currently in war. And at that time, it was Vietnam. So Howa stopped producing them, and then Armalite sold the rights to Sterling, that's what this is. This is a Sterling-made AR-180. And I think Sterling made 20,000 of them before the actually no, they stopped making them before the assault weapons ban and all that stuff. So basically, these are getting rarer by the day. They're getting harder and harder to come by as time goes on. They're still on Gunbroker. You might even run into one in your local shop. But if you're interested in one of these things, definitely get on it, because even though they look cheap, they have some weak points. If you understand the flaws in the design and know how to handle it, this will be a great shooter. I haven't shot it yet, but I've watched other people shoot it, and they all say the same thing. This thing's a fucking tack driver. Very accurate for what it is. I mean, it's just basically stamped sheet metal. Here, I'll even show you. Try to get it. Here, actually, let me take down the lower real quick. Okay. So all right. So now I got the lower separated, just like a regular AR-15. You got your pin in the front. Look at that hammer. It's not even solid forging. It's just rolled stamped sheet metal. Try to get it to focus. This whole entire gun is made out of stampings. And you might say, well, that's a cheap piece of crap. Well, I want that. It's just a feat of engineering that goes into making a gun entirely out of stampings, reduce costs, is a great feat in and of itself. And here's your bolt last round hold open right there. And for any of you that might be interested in buying one of these, when you're taking this down, always look for that when you're interested in buying one, because a lot of times those will break. And the reason why is when somebody takes these guns down and they don't know what they're doing, they'll drop the hammer. Well, the hammer can over travel forward, and when it does that, it will hit your last round hold open right there and break it. And good luck finding a replacement for it. So keep that in mind if you get interested in one of these things. But other than that, there she is. That's my new toy. My birthday's coming up in 6 days, and I thought I would buy myself a nice little gift this year, seeing how crappy of a year this has been for everybody. So we all need to reward ourselves every now and then. Alright, this is Jason, signing off. All you modern and classic firearms members, have a good weekend.